Hey everybody, welcome to the video. So we're breaking down the Bank of America ROVAL 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the road course. This will take place on Sunday, October 10th at around 2 p.m. Eastern. And it's our seventh and final road course race of the 2021 NASCAR season. Also our final round of 12. So should be a fun race. Definitely looking forward to it. Excited to break it down. And if you do find this video helpful in any way possible, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. If you want to take that one step further, an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. We got a lot of stuff going on. NFL, MLB, NBA coming on soon. We still have some NASCAR for about a month now. I got projections, optimizers, ownership projections, cheat sheets, spreadsheets for every single sport in the Discord community. So if you want to check that out, link is down below. And last but not least, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. I'm sure most of you know this by now, but if you don't, it's daily fantasy sports simplified. Just you versus the projections. There's no sharks, 150 max contests, or salary cap restrictions, or anything like that. Just you versus the props they offer each and every single day. And as of right now, I am currently offering PrizePicks projections and some of my favorite plays in the article. So if you want to check those out and play over there in addition to what you do on DraftKings, which is what I do each and every single week. And last week hit very nicely on the Truex and Larson under, pair with a Derrick Henry over on his receiving prop for a nice 5xer. So if you want to get in on the fun, head to prizepicks.com, use code CPENN to get a free money bonus. That's an instant deposit match up to $100, so it's free money. Want to use it to your advantage, and use code CPENN and tell them I sent you. I think it'll be it for the plugs for the most part. So without further ado, let's dive into the preview of this week's race. I do want to mention one thing before we get started. So if you want to join the DraftKings contest that I host each and every single week, just a fun way for me to interact with you guys, see what kind of laps you're voting, compete for money, prizes, and shout out on the channel. Just comment the DQ's name down below. I had to cut it in half to around 50 people, but we seemed to be able to fill that last week, so hopefully we can fill that once again. Usually we're at 100, but you know, if it's starting right around football time, it's really hard to get that filled. So I do want to shout out the winners from last week, so I'll throw them on the screen right about now. Coming in first place, taking home the gold and over $60, we had Samuel's Dad, 51. Coming in second place, JMR, 32, bunch of numbers. Then K Toga rounding out the top three. Then right at the bubble, we had Drugman 88, my man Trey in fifth, Chetty O's in sixth, three Discord members in a row there, Hulk Smash 41 in seventh, PMJ in eighth, Vaz P in ninth. And rounding at the top 10, we have my man Rick, Rusty Nail there, behind Discord members. Shout out to you guys, you made fantastic lineups last week. I'm glad you guys were able to survive the rain and carnage we had at Dega last weekend. But anyway, let's get right into the preview here. So as previously mentioned, this is the Bank of America ROVAL 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the road course inside the track. It's 2.28 miles in length. We have 109 laps available to us, which means diameter points not too important this weekend. It's mainly just finishing position and place differential. Yes, if you have a guy like Chase Elliott that leads about half the race, gets half the fast laps, it's going to be pretty important. So there's probably going to be like a main dominator here, which I imagine it'll be Chase Elliott, but there's going to be so much strategy going on. I don't think we're going to see a guy just lead the entire race. So for the most part, just mainly focus on finishing position and place differential. Dominator points are kind of in the rearview mirror. There's something you can think about, but that's something I would weigh too heavily. And if you're looking for similar tracks, I would say the ROVALs are the most similar. There's more technical tracks like Sonoma, Watkins, Glen, and Coda. They're still comparable, but they're not as comparable as the ROVALs as they play out just a little bit different. But I think that's it for the preview for the most part, so I think we can get right to the driver-by-driver breakdown portion of this week's video. Overall thoughts on the pricing this weekend. I think DraftKings did a pretty good job. They made Dinger super expensive. I was thinking if using the 9K range, we're just going to have an absolute boatload of chalk. I still think he's going to be chalky, but that price tag will keep it a little bit lower considering he's more expensive than Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, although I expect him to be pretty high owned this week. It's just, I'm glad they did price him all the way up because it makes you actually have to decide instead of just plugging him in freely. Ross Chastain got a massive bump compared to his counterparts, starting in similar positions like MDB, Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Justin Haley, pretty expensive at $7,400, although he is starting pretty much in the back, but definitely think there should be some fun decisions to be made on this site. We'll start up top with the expensive guys. AJ Helmdinger, $11,200, starting in 33rd. He actually won the most recent Cup Series road course race. We know he's super good at road courses. Got a little bit lucky in the Indy race because Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin got into it. Left the door open for AJ Albinger to steal it at the very end. But so far this season at road courses in the Cup Series, he's finished first. 20th at Road America, a bit of an issue there, so we'll kind of look past that. 5th at Coda and 7th at Daytona ROVAL. And yes, I realize he's not in as good of equipment as guys like Chase Elliott, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, but it's the place differential here. Like these guys, if they win the race, they're going to put up some pretty big scores or get top fives. But if AJ Allmendinger, if we just look at the heat map here, because keep in mind, dominator points are not important for this race. If Allmendinger finishes top 10, we're looking at about 57 fantasy points. Keep in mind, he'll probably get some fast laps here and there. Would not be surprised if he gets up front at some point. If he gets the top 5, we're talking 67. If he wins the race, 77. For Chase Elliott to get 77 points, to win the race and pretty much lead him large majority of the laps. So Allmendinger just even getting a top 10 is outpacing Chase Elliott if he wins the race. not accounting for laps that are fast laps, but even then, very few of those will to us. So AJ Helmdinger, my top predicted driver on the slate. Don't think a lot of people would disagree with that. Chase Elliott, $10,700. He's starting in 8th. You get a little bit of place differential upside here. Fantastic at the Charlotte Roval. He's won the past 2 races here. He has 3 wins on Rovals out of 5 races. The most laps led, the most fast laps this year at road courses. 4th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 21st at Daytona Roval, but he honestly could have won that race. Past 10 races at road courses, averaging the most DraftKings points per race, not even close to anybody else. Average finish of 3.5, 6 wins, 9 top 5s. Would have been 10, but again, the issue that Daytona Roval, the most laps led, the most fast laps. If you're not playing Chase Elliott, Albinger, in cash games this weekend, I think you're doing it wrong. Kyle Larson, $10,300. He's starting in 10th place. He's been fantastic at the road courses this year. He's been right up there with Chase Elliott, 3rd, 1st, 16th, 1st, 2nd, and 30th. Also, the Daytona Roval, he was running up front near the very end, had the freshest tires, was the first unfresh tires. Honestly, could have won that race. Ended up, I think he hit something which ruined his day, but he's been fantastic at the road courses this year. I think he's right up there with Chase Elliott as being the next best play to AJ Helmdinger. If I had to pick between the two, I'm going to take Chase just because of how good in this career he's been at road courses, but Kyle Larson, definitely my 3rd favorite play of the bunch here. Then Martin Truex Jr., $10,100. He hasn't been quite as impressive at road courses as you would have thought he would have been this year. Finishes at 15th, 3rd, 9th, 3rd, 35th, and 12th. But he's still very good at them and one of the absolute best. Like heading into the season, it was Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. road courses. Kyle Larson has kind of taken over there. But Truex is definitely someone you should have on your radar this weekend. He should have somewhat lower ownership because everyone's playing Dinger, Elliott, Larson in this tier. So Martin Truex starting in 5th place and has much PD upside should get overlooked a little bit. I would not mind being overweight on him in tournaments. Although, again, if I had to pick between these 4, he is obviously the last guy I'm picking, but still a fantastic road course racer. Dropping down to the 9K range, we have Kyle Busch starting in 9th, $9,900. I'm hoping a lot of people look at his Roval history because he has an average finish of 31.8, negative 6.3 DraftKings points per race, and only 1 top 20 in 5 races. But he's getting extremely unlucky, and I'm hoping people just look at this, see the terrible history, and just completely fade him. But he's one of the best road course drivers this season. Like, he has been super, super good. He finished 20th in Indy, but 4th, 3rd, 5th, 10th, 35th at Daytona Roval. Again, super bad luck at Rovals. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think he'll be just fine here. I definitely like Kyle Busch in tournaments. Him and Truex should be a little bit lower owned than they should. William Byron, $9,700. He's starting in 11th. Another guy that can be very hit or miss at road courses because he tends to just kind of wreck out of these. Like 33rd at Indy, then 6th at Watkins Glen, 33rd at Road America, 35th at Sonoma, 11th at Dakota, and then 33rd at Daytona Roval. So if he's not wrecking out or having major issues, he should be a top 10 contender. If we look at his past 10 races at road courses, he does have 4 top 10 finishes, but he does have an average finish of nearly 20th compared to his running position being about half that. It's kind of hard to know what you're going to get with William Byron, but if he runs clean, and he definitely needs a clean run in this race, I think $9,700 starting at 11th, he is worthy of a tournament play. Denny Hamlin on the pool, I don't really have interest here. The guy's a good road course racer. It's just, honestly, how it works out from the pool. I definitely want to be lower owned in the field on Denny Hamlin. I don't think he's a complete fade, but I think there's a very slim chance he is in the optimal lineup because I don't think he's going to hold off guys like Chase Elliott, Larson the entire race, and there's going to be so much strategy. I just can't see him leading that many laps. I believe he started in the pool at road course earlier this year, did not even lead a lap in this race, and I mean, I cannot really recommend wanting to play Denny. I'd much rather play Chastain over Denny Hamlin. My projections say the same exact thing. Chastain has had very similar finishes to Denny Hamlin this year at road courses, and he starts all the way back in 27th. So, not really liking Hamlin here. I think he's going to run fine, but you're going to need total domination. But you're going to need total domination and a win here out of Hamlin to be optimal. Ross Chastain, $9,300, kind of already hinted at him, but he's had some pretty strong finishes at road courses when he's not having issues. 29th in Indy and 39th at the Roval earlier this year, but then 12th, 7th, 7th, and 4th. I'll take that all day, starting in 27th. He's a very solid play. He's a bit pricey, but for the PD upside he does offer you, I definitely think he's viable. Ryan Blaney at $9,100. He's starting in 6th. He can be a bit more hit or miss at road courses. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of him here. At the Roval, he does have a win, actually at the specific track. He does have 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s. It's just I'm not huge on where he's starting for his price tag. Like, I'd rather play MDB riding Chase Briscoe than I would Blaney. My projections would say the same thing. I think he's worthy of a tournament play, but probably won't have too much of him, and I would not play him in cash games. Dropping down to the 8K range, Alex Bowman, Kurt Busch are very similar plays here. Both are actually pretty strong at road courses. Both have 4 top 10s at Rovals. Both have around 2 to 3 top 5s, average finish of 8.8 for each of them, both averaging similar DraftKings points per race, both starting at the near same position, both are on the same price. It's not much separating these two, so if you want to just kind of split your ownership on them, I wouldn't mind that. I'd prefer Kurt Busch over Alex Bowman just because Kurt Busch, just the more experienced road course racer, but both project out very similar to me. Then the rest of these drivers in the 8K range are very, very risky plays for where they're starting. Brett Keselowski, I don't see a reason to want to play Brad. I might actually just go 0% on Brad. Christopher Bell is a good road course racer. When they did turn ROVAL earlier this year, finished second in Road America. Had an issue in the last road course race where he finished 36th at Indy, but I don't think his ownership is going to be too high. I've not done my projected ownership yet, but I don't think a lot of people are playing Bell $8,400 starting in 4th place too often, so I might be a little bit overweight in the field there just because there is a chance he could win this race. Kevin Harvick starting in 7th place. He has one finish better than that at road courses this year. Don't really see a need to want to play too much of Kevin Harvick. Logano kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit, but he didn't have a finish worse than 4th for a while. 2 top 5s at ROVALs, 5 top 10s out of 5 races. He's good at ROVALs. It's just starting so far up. It's a pure tournament play for me. You got to hope he holds his position, gets some fast laps on the way, hopefully gets up front, and probably wins the race for that to work out. But if he can just finish in the top 3, he's not going to kill you. Dropping down to the 7K range, we have a lot of good plays here. MDB, Tyler Reddick, both just pure place differential plays that are definitely on my radar. MDB is a top 5 at a ROVAL. If I'm playing cash games this weekend, I'm going to try to get both in. My projections jamming them both in. The same goes for Chase Briscoe, $7,600. He's starting in 22nd, one of the better road course racers in the entire series. Was very close to winning the race at Indy, but he got into a bit of a scuffle there with Denny Hamlin as he went up the track, ended up turning Hamlin. He said he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know he had a penalty. It was a big mess. It was very entertaining to watch. But Briscoe, I know he doesn't have quite the PD upside that Reddick and MDB have, but he projects very good for me. I think you can play him in cash games, play him in tournaments, hoping since he's priced right beside these place differential guys that he's a little bit lower owned than he should, because I love Chase Briscoe on this slate. Just think he's a little bit too cheap here. I think he should be probably right around where Chastain is, to be honest. So the fact that he's not just screams value. And I think the same can be said for MDB and Tyler Reddick. Justin Haley 8th at the last road course race we were at. You got to keep in mind, though, there was a ton of carnage. Had that curb destroy half the cars, it seemed like. Then we had the issue at the end. Because besides that, he's finished 29th, 25th, 40th, and 24th. So while he does offer you a PD upside, he's very safe. Just seems a bit overpriced. My projections don't hate him, but I would much rather play guys like Briscoe, Reddick, and MDB in this price range. Eric Almirola, typically a top 20 guy. The past 5 ROVAL races we've had, he's finished inside the top 20. So I think he's a somewhat safe play. Just doesn't have quite the ceiling as guys like Briscoe, Reddick, and MDB, in my opinion, because we're not going to really see him contend for too many top 15s at road courses. Michael McDowell at ROVALs, 2 top 10s, 3 top 15s, 4 top 20s. Typically a guy I like to roster at road courses. Although so far this season, besides the first 2 races at Daytona and Coda, it's been pretty ugly for Michael McDowell. 28th, 30th, 21st, and 30th. So we'll see how it goes. I think he's a fine tournament play starting in 19th, but I don't think I'd play him in cash games. Daniel Suarez seems to have an engine issue every single time at a road course, which is concerning, obviously. He does have 12th and 16th place finishes, and he's actually not a bad road course racer, but it has been some real bad luck for Daniel Suarez lately. Been a Chris Buescher, he's had some success at ROVAL so far, 3 top 15s, 6 top 20s, which means he's been in the top 20 each and every single time. His finishes this year at road courses, very, very solid. Cannot complain. 12th, 17th, 18th, 16th, 13th, and 11th. I wish he had more PD upside, but starting in 16th, I think that makes him a fine tournament play. Ryan Newman had his best finish of the year at road course last time at Indy, although you got to keep in mind so much carnage that race. I'm not going to look too much into it. Ryan Newman, it does have 4 top 20s at ROVALs. I just don't really love playing at road courses too much. I mean, he's got an average finish 5.1 at them the past 10 races with a running position of 24, so not a huge fan there. And I also want to mention Buescher, 5 top 15s and 10 top 20s the past 10 road course races. One of the more consistent ones at just grabbing good finishes at these. Austin Dillon starting in 14th. He was one of the worst road course racers. Now he's somewhat solid at them. Finishes of 12th, 13th, 11th, and 15th at them this year. The 2 ROVAL races, 31st and 34th, so take that for what it is. Starting in 14th, only in play for tournaments for me. Same goes for Eric Jones. I mean, the guy's a good road course racer. The problem is he's in kind of junk equipment these days. Does have some solid finishes, though. 14th, 16th, 11th, 19th, 27th is pretty gross, but then 7th at Indy. Starting in 17th, find him in a very similar boat to guys like Austin Dillon and Chris Buescher. Joey Hand, 36, $6,200. They're bringing him in. I will say he does have better odds than the absolute scrubs this weekend, like Timmy Hill, Garrett Smithy, Cody Ware, Quinn Alp. Usually we see these guys making their first Cup start. They have the same odds, but he's actually bumped up a tier above them. So I would not be surprised if he can crack the top 30, starting at 36. That's not terrible PD. I would rather play Ryan Preece, though, just because he's got more experience in the Cup Series, although he's 3 really bad finishes in a row at road courses. But starting in 31st, I think that's fine, and my projections don't mind him. Plus, he finished 9th at the ROVAL earlier this season. Scott Heckard, 2 road course races this year, finished 26th and 28th. Not terrible for a guy that's starting in 35th. The finishes were a bit lucky considering his average running position was outside the top 30. Cole Custer starting in 23rd, $5,700. Don't hate him, don't love him, but he's a guy that can crack the top 20. So if you're just trying to differentiate down low, I think he's fine if you're putting 150 lineups. Ricky Stenhouse, $5,600, starting in 18th. I don't mind him because he's typically a top 20 guy at road courses. So far this season, 11th, 19th, 12th, 37th was gross, but he wrecked out, 22nd and 18th. So it's mainly a price play for me. I wish there was more PD to be had, but starting in 18th, I think he is cash viable just because of how low his price is. Corey LaJoy, $5,500. He's starting in 26th. He has 2 good finishes at road courses this year, being 13th at Indy and 14th at Sonoma. Outside of that, hasn't been super impressive, but if you're looking for cheap PD down here, he's probably your best bet if you don't want to go with a guy like Scott Heckert or Cole Custer. Jumping above Wallace, the man who got his first win of the season last week at Talladega, was aided by the rain, but he was still running well right before the rain came, and all the drivers knew it was coming, so, I mean, you gotta give him credit where it's due. Starting 15th at road course, though, feel like that's a no thank you. Anthony Alfredo, been pretty bad at road courses so far, besides the first 2. 18th at Coda, 22nd at Daytona Roval. Starting in 20th, just really not much upside to be had there. One of my worst projected drivers, to be honest. And Bilicki, Hill, Smithley, Ware, Houff, if you think there's going to be a ton of carnage in this race, they're playable, but if not, not too interested there. Timmy Hill, in his 2 races this year at road courses, he's finished 27th and 29th, so take that for what it is. Not really someone I want to play, but if you're looking for cheap PD in the back, Timmy Hill is not the worst play out there, and he does project the best out of these 4 drivers. But with that being said, I think that'll be pretty much it for the video. So I hope it was helpful, and if it was, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to take that one step further, become a official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. And don't forget, this video was sponsored by PrizePicks. Just you versus the projections. As of right now, if you're new signing over there, you can get a free money bonus up to $100. It's free money, just use it to your advantage. When you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. I think that'll be it. I'll stop rambling. I'll see you guys next week for the next video.